Welcome to the FF Forge. My name is Steve, and here is the second championship week, week 18 rankings for the wide receivers. I have already released a video which has both of the quarterbacks and the tight ends in one video, and of course, this week there are a lot of questions that we just don't have answers to. Some of them we will not have answers to, and so you're going to have to either take some risks or play it safe and not take risks, those kinds of things, depending on what your expectations are for the teams. So I have already included, based on all the information that we've gathered so far and based on my thoughts and assumptions on how teams will play, how aggressively they'll try to win their games, how much they'll want to sit their players, which players I think will stay on the field even if starters are sitting because they're young and they need to grow, or maybe the team hasn't been playing very good, like Tampa Bay, for instance, who will be having some of their starters. We'll get to that in just a moment, though, on the field to start the game. Don't know how long that'll last. But right before we get to them again, on here you can see I have my ranking. We'll go through them in tiers. Here's the player name. Here is the team. I will go over the color coding that I have for the player teams. This is directly related to the playoff situations. Here's the opponent. Here's the difficulty of the opponent. Red is good, blue is bad, and white is going to be neutral. And of course, the intensity of those colors is how good, how bad, how neutral they are. Then here's the ECR, the Expert Consensus Ranking from Fantasy Pros website. That is where I start with my rankings. And then I have also already done projections for all of the positions. So these rankings are, as we get more information, players will be shifting, especially this week. But they are based on my projections as well as my thoughts and feelings. And here is the difference between myself and the ECR. This is how much over or below I am compared to the experts rankings. So here you see a positive 5 because I'm 5 spots ahead of the ECR. And I highlighted anything that was more or less as 4 or more player ranking positions different compared to the ECR. So anything 3, 1, 2, 0, the same ranking would be a 0. I have not highlighted, and I'm not going to really talk about any of the players, so especially for this video, you can see where I am differing there compared to the experts. Some of it, like Tyler Lockett here, I'm sure the experts will come up on when you see some of those huge gaps. And now, just to help you with the color coding here, and this really helped me with choosing some of playing this guy over that guy as far as the rankings go. The green means that the team is still playing for seeding, and of course, dependent on game time, there could be some situations where teams won't be able to play for their seeding anymore, but I think other than the Lions, who are going to go out there and try to win anyways, I think the NFL has pretty much avoided too much of teams already knowing what their future is prior to playing their games. Then here in the blue, highlighted teams are the teams that are in the playoff hunt, so they don't have a playoff spot, guaranteed yet, and so they obviously have everything to play for and nothing to lose either. And then here are going to be the teams in the orange, the teams that are in the playoffs and they have nothing to lose or gain, and that is just going to be the New York Giants, who apparently are going to be sitting their starters. So that's why I have Isaiah Hodgins over Darius Slayton. I do believe Darius Slayton would be the one to get the most rest, if not just totally sit out the game. I could probably put Richie James up there, but I'll wait to hear a little bit more on, see if more information doesn't come out about their plans. And then up to, where are they? The Tampa Bay wide receivers. They may get moved down further, but it looks like Tampa Bay is going to have their starters out there to start the game, at least Tom Brady. So I would assume that they want to get at least one good drive in. I think Tom Brady, the team, probably knows that they're not a Super Bowl team with how they've played throughout this season, and so they probably want to just get a little bit more practice in with each other and end the season on a good note, like they did last week, but build upon that. And so who knows, that could be a one-drive thing. So let's just get right into the wide receiver rankings. For my first tier, starting off at wide receiver 1, I have Justin Jefferson, followed by Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, Devontae Adams. Obviously have him down a little bit ways because of concern of him playing a complete game here. Then Keenan Allen, Christian Watson, DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, Christian Kirk, Tyler Lockett, all to wrap up that first tier at wide receiver 16 with Tyler. And as you can see, most of these teams have something to play for, so that's a really good sign. Hopefully, things continue like the way they are. There haven't been too many signs of teams sitting too many guys. Have been a few quarterbacks that have already been announced out. Now let's move on to my second tier of wide receivers, starting off at wide receiver 17 with Jalen Waddle. And due to the matchup, his floor is quite low, so that was the main difference here between Tyler Lockett and him, as far as where this comfort level cuts off here, because Tyler Lockett's been just as good or better than DK Metcalf all season, so I feel comfortable putting him in the same tier. But Waddle starts to get a little concerning. Obviously, Tyreek Hill concerned about too. Have him all the way back at 6th. That means something to continue this tier. I have DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, Zay Jones, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Drake London, Marquise Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jerry Jeudy, Alan Lazard, Gabe Davis, and Jacoby Myers to wrap the tier up at wide receiver 31. And, still, I think overall, some pretty good choices throughout here. You can see the big difference here I have is Rashid Shaheed, but I do believe that New Orleans, he's not going to sit, and he's been a big play guy, so the more time he's been on the field, the better he's done. He's done quite good this season, really, for a name that came out of nowhere and we still aren't respecting, and we'll have to keep him on the back burner this offseason, try to remember him next year. He might be somebody to think about depending on what that team's wide receiver core looks like by the start of next season. Now let's get on to the next wide receiver tier, starting off at wide receiver 32 with Terry McLaurin, followed by Michael Pittman Jr., Deontay Johnson, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jahan Dotson, Brandon Cooks, Cortland Sutton, Traylon Burks, DJ Shark, George Pickens, Adam Thielen, Curtis Samuel, KJ Osborne, Michael Gallup, Tyler Boyd, Van Jefferson to wrap that up. There's some concern about Minnesota wide receivers and whatnot. You would think that they're going to just try to get an early lead and start to sit people, but I'm more concerned about running back than the wide receivers. And of course, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, especially KJ Osborne, shouldn't get any rest time, so a little bit of upside there. I want to talk about one more here. Well, all in all, in this tier, it's either guys like Terry McLaurin, Michael Pittman a little bit, Deontay Johnson, where Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, where there are concerns, or there's guys where there's a lot of hope. Traylon Burks, DJ Shark, George Pickens, Brandon Cooks even, Cortland Sutton, Jahan Dotson, probably not with the quarterback situation, but hopefulness going on for these guys. Curtis Samuel, is he going to get a lot of short targets in this game? Could see that. KJ Osborne could get a lot of time on the field, could be a good guy. Michael Gallup, so a lot of upside. Tyler Boyd, of course, is always upside there. Van Jefferson, actually, surprisingly, has a pretty darn good upside too. And so that's kind of what this tier looks like. It's concerned hopefulness. Now let's move on to the next tier of wide receivers, starting off at wide receiver 51 with Kadarius Toney, followed by Isaiah Hodgins, Corey Davis, Paris Campbell, and Romeo Doubs to wrap that up. The amount of time these guys get on the field is some of the biggest concern. Corey Davis, I don't know what the New York Jets are going to be doing this week, but it's a good matchup, so that's good. Now let's finish this out with my last tier, starting off at wide receiver 55 with Darius Slayton. Explained why he's so low. Then Marvin Jones Jr., Chris Moore, Joshua Palmer, Richie James Jr., and Marquez Valdez-Scantling to wrap that tier up. And so yeah, there we are. Lots of differences compared to the experts. Here we will wrap that up with an image of the first tier there. So there's still quite a decent amount of options out there that I think you should be able to fill out your wide receivers pretty well. And I feel somewhat confident about it this week. Hopefully, we'll see. As updates come in, you can always check on the website. I do have these rankings up at www.theFFforge.com, and they will be updated as news comes throughout the week about starting, guys who are starting and not starting or not expected to finish games, etc. So, thank you very much. Running backs video will come out tomorrow, and I think that's it. Peace out.